Hello and welcome back to my channel. Here we talk about books, we talk about my writing journey, I even give you the odd travel vlog occasionally, and today I am going to be talking about what I have read in April and what I will be reading in May. And let me tell you, I have had a real mixed bag this month, or in April, but I think I have some solid books to read in May. So let's get on with it without further ado. So in April, I read, bear with me because I am using my phone. I've recently joined the Fable app, which is like a social media Facebook kind of thing for readers, fans of books and TV shows. I just stick to the book side, but it allows you to track your reviews and stuff like that. So I'm going to be using this from now on to help me give a better, more fuller review in my videos. So bear with me because I will be checking in with my phone occasionally. So last month I read A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and I also read Murder Before Evensong by Richard Coles. Now I read Murder Before Evensong first, so I'm going to review that book first. The Fable app allow you to kind of give your reviews out of 5 stars. This was a solid 2.5 for me. It wasn't something that grabbed me. It started well, but kind of lost me somewhere in the middle, and by the end I kind of was, just trying to read and find out who it was. I was interested to find out who the murderer was, and it is an interesting twist. I did not get it, so and I do sometimes, I'm pretty good at guessing who murdered people in these sort of books, but this one did fool me in the end. It's set in a village, and there's basically battle lines being drawn between the villagers because the vicar wants to put a lavatory in a church. And there are some people that like that idea, and there are some people that do not like that idea. And I mean, they don't just dislike it, they hate the idea. They think it's like the worst idea ever. And the idea that they're arguing about this is like so. It's like Midsummer Murders. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just so quintessentially British. So I quite like that idea, and that's what grabbed my attention initially with this book. But here is my review. So while I had high hopes for this book, I really struggled at times with the endless descriptive passages. There is a lot of description in this book. There was a lot of description about the religious process, and while I understand that as the main character, that the main character is a rector, and that is part of his life and his job, I did find that detail was not strictly necessary, not for me as a reader, as it kind of slowed the pacing down for me. So it was quite slow in places because this description was going on. The main character was also slightly lackluster. He didn't really have any get up and go, really. He just seemed to plod about, like he didn't really do a lot. And I did not get any sense of who he was or even how he felt about the murders in the parish, which I thought was quite unusual for a rector, but anyway. I would have liked to see more of an insight into his reactions and his feelings, really. I didn't really feel connected to him. Having said that, I did like the way the village politics were depicted, and I also enjoyed the scenes with Daniel's mother, Audrey, and his brother, Theo. I am still looking forward to the TV show. I do still want to check that out. I've read the book now, so I will be able to compare the two, which is what I wanted to be able to do. It was kind of like a mixed bag for me. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. So, if you're into cozy murder mysteries, I would definitely recommend giving it a go and trying it out, because you're not going to lose much, I don't think, if you do. My next book for the month, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Now, I did enjoy this book. I gave this one 3.5 stars. I'm a really, really hard reviewer, it seems, I think. I just have some high standards, I think. But anyway, so this story follows Pip. This was also made into a BBC TV show. I haven't seen that yet. I do want to see it, especially now that I have read the book, but we'll see. So this story follows Pip as she reopens an old murder of a teen which took place 5 years ago. The assumption being that her boyfriend was the murderer, who then took his own life because he was guilty, and everyone in the town assumes that because he took his own life, that must mean he's guilty. I really enjoyed this book. It was definitely one I wanted to keep reading. Pip is very relatable as a character, if a little foolhardy at times, but that's relatable for a teenager. There were just times that I just wanted her to think through the possible outcomes of what she was about to do. I was like, girl, you are walking into danger, turn around now and go the other way. But no, she did not. Anyway, yeah, so her relationship with Ravi, who's the brother of the bloke who took his own life, who is assumed to be guilty. So her relationship with Ravi developed slowly and was really nice to watch and be a part of. While overall I thought this book was good, there were areas that I would have liked to see develop more, hence the 3.5 stars rather than 4 or 5. Um, for instance, I would have liked to see more depth to Pip's relationship with her friends. The scenes that they shared were few and far between, and I didn't get any real sense of why they would be a friendship group. So yeah, that was a little bit strange for me because they've been friends since they were like kids. So I just didn't get any sense of that. My favourite parts of the book were seeing Pip's summaries of the investigation and watching her fit those puzzle pieces together for her EPQ. These parts of the story, which is part of her A-level qualification or something, these parts of the story were intriguing and twisty and did not let up until the very end. And when I say that, I mean that. Really good book. I really, really enjoyed that. So they were my two books for April. But as I said to you in last month's video, I was going to be reading Not Just for Christmas and Lessons in Love as well. I haven't read Lessons in Love yet. I'm saving that for a little bit later, maybe next month, maybe this month, sorry, in May. But I did read Not Just for Christmas. But then I whizzed through those two other books, Murder Before Evensong and A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and then I was left like twiddling my thumbs. So I was like, ooh, what do I read now? So I tried this book, A Fate Inked in Blood. I was watching Bookish Dad's Reads videos, and he recommended this book, or he had bought this book. I'm not sure if he's read it, but it sounded good. So it's kind of like Norse inspired, and the idea is that when a child is conceived, sometimes, if you're worthy, the gods would gift that child a drop of their blood, and they would be born with magical powers related to that god. So you had like the male main character, he had a drop of Tears blood. This is not spoilers, by the way. You hear about this in like chapter 2 or 3, so it's not like I'm revealing anything that's major. He's been gifted a drop of Tears blood, so he has a fiery axe and things like that. The main character's husband, he's been gifted a drop of Njord's blood, so he's a really good fisherman. And the idea of that was really appealed to me, really spoke to me, and it started really well. I really liked the main character, and I really liked the way she was telling the story. However, it didn't last long. I ended up really struggling with this, and again, this was a DNF for me. And I've written a review on Fable just so that for this purpose really, so that I could let you know why I didn't finish it. So here we go. I gave it 2 stars. I'm really sorry. I feel really bad because, and I'm not saying I wouldn't go back to it, but right now it just wasn't speaking to me. So I thought I'm just going to DNF it rather than continue to read it and then have just really turn out to really struggle with it and then not want to read it again. I thought I'd stop now and maybe return to it later. So this is what I said about it. I really wanted to like this book, but I just couldn't. The premise was good, Norse fantasy where some people are gifted a drop of God's blood upon their conception, gifting them with magic. As I say, not a spoiler. The main problem I had with this was that the plot didn't seem to go anywhere. I read to page 85, but it was so repetitive. There was a lot of flirty banter between the main character and the main female character and the main male character. But they didn't seem to have any romantic chemistry for me. It was just banter, banter, banter. It was just it didn't really feel like I was witnessing anything special. That even when the plot started to get going, I really lost interest. By that point, I was just like, I'm not sure if I care anymore. So this was a DNF for me. But I do think that if you enjoy Fourth Wing, ACOTAR, and the like, you would enjoy this book. Those books weren't for me, to be honest with you. But if you like them, give that a go because it's a really strange book. It's got a good premise, and there are parts of it that are really well written. There was some parts of it that I just couldn't enjoy as much as I wanted to. But like I say, it's not a DNF forever, it's a DNF for now, and I will try that book again. And hopefully I can edit that review later on and say that I enjoyed it much better when I was ready to read it. I don't know. So that left me with another quandary. What am I going to read? Because there was like 2 weeks, 1 week, 2 weeks left in April, and I was like stuck on a book. But I've had this particular book sitting on my Kindle for ages, absolutely ages. I think since last year, and I've been desperate to read it. It's called Of Blood and Fire by Ryan Cahill, and or Cahill, I'm not sure. And he's just recently brought out the fourth book in that series called Empires of Dust. And it's been doing the rounds on Instagram, etc. And I've been really interested in reading that. But it looks great. The covers to the whole series look great. There's novellas, there's all kinds of side stories. And it just looks like a world I want to get into. So I thought, do you know what? I'm going to sit down and I'm going to finally read Of Fire and Blood, which is the first book. I have read the prequel novella, The Fall, and I did enjoy that. But then for some reason, I didn't carry on with that series. So it's been a while. So I do remember I had a quick sort of like skim through The Fall on my Kindle, and then I was like ready to read Of Blood and Fire, and I gave this 4 stars. I really enjoyed this book. So here's my review. I really enjoyed this debut by Ryan Cahill. The world he creates is immersive and epic in scope, and I can't wait to see more of it in the rest of the series. The characters are well thought out and relatable, but definitely leave room for growth. The main trio, Kaelin, Dan, and Rist, are all likeable, and I've found myself rooting for each of them throughout the story at various points. Without any spoilers, I'm particularly looking forward to seeing more of Rist in future books. If you've read it, you know why. I will say at times the pacing was a bit erratic, and I would have loved to see more chapters from Ella's, Dan's, Rist's, and even Fane's POV. Fane is the antagonist. I'm hoping that will happen in future books in the series. I've been told that this series only gets better, that this is a solid debut, but the rest of the series each book just keeps building and getting better and better. So I've got huge hopes for this series. If you enjoy Eragon and the Faithful and the Fallen series by John Gwynne, you will enjoy this. The author was clearly inspired by these works, not that that's a bad thing. I love both of those series. They are two of my favourite all-time fantasy series ever, and that for me gives it a lot of nostalgia. So that was a pretty solid review, I think. It's another book that I highly recommend. So if you love fantasy, if you love dragons, if you love magic, if you love big baddies and stuff like that, and expansive, immersive worlds, I definitely think Of Blood and Fire is for you. You could start with The Fall, or you could just dive into Of Blood and Fire. I don't think you need to have read The Fall to understand or get what happens in Of Blood and Fire. I just think it's nice to have read that in the first place. That's just my personal opinion, but you don't have to have done that. So let's get on to the books for May. So my first book, the book that I'm currently reading, I had to take a break from fantasy. Although I enjoyed that, it was a big book. It was like 500 and something pages. And the next book in the series, which is another book that I intend to read this month, is even bigger. So I did need to take a break. So my palette cleanser for the moment is The Little Board Game Cafe by Jennifer Page. This is a really cute book. You know, if you've been here for any amount of time, that I do love the cozy romances, non-spicy cozy romances, and this fits right in that category. It's about a girl called, I want to say Emily. Am I right? God, I can't even remember her name. How terrible is that? Yes, Emily. Haha, brilliant. Point for me. So this is about Emily, who we meet her first page. She's getting made redundant, and it turns out, this is not a spoiler because you find out like 2 sentences after she's been made redundant, it's her fiance who is doing the kind of firing, if you like. And I'm like, charming, absolutely charming. He's a bit of a, well, don't like him much, obviously. But yeah, it's a really good book. She's got a best friend called Kate, who's like a serial dater. And Emily's got big dreams. She wants to open up her own cafe. It's a dream she had alongside her mum, who we haven't had it confirmed yet, but I think she's lost her mum. And so she's got some like yearning to open the cafe, but this kind of, I don't know, she's not doing it with her mum. So she's kind of put those dreams on the back burner a little bit and kind of put them in a box and told herself she doesn't need those dreams. But obviously she does need those dreams. After being made redundant, she's found this tiny little place in her town that she didn't know was there, called Nico's, which is for sale, and she's being called to that place constantly. She wants to buy it, and she hasn't quite got the courage up to do that yet, but I think that time is getting close. I've only just started reading it. I'm not very far into the book. I'm only about 62 pages in. So there's a long way to go, and I'm really enjoying it. I love the town of Essendale that Jennifer Page has created, and I think Jennifer Page is going to be one of the authors at the Meet Cute Book Fest that I'm going to later this year in June. So I'm hoping to take that book and hopefully get her to sign it. The next book I will be reading after that will be Of Light and Darkness by Ryan Cahill. Follows on straight after Of Blood and Fire, so I will be looking forward to that one, getting back into that world. And if I've got time, which I am hoping I will have, I will then be reading the second book in the Little Ball Game Cafe, which I think is called Love Letters on Hazel Lane. That's up there somewhere. So if I read that, I will talk about that next. I was going to say next year, but I mean next month. I will talk about that next month, and yeah, I will be reviewing all of my books on Fable. If you want to join the Fable app, it's a really good app, by the way. It's kind of like you get like a feed on the main page where people talk about books and they post pictures of their reading buddies, i.e. their cats or dogs, which is quite cute. And then you can join book clubs over there as well. It's a really great place to be if you are a reader and if you love books and TV shows. I don't know so much about the TV show side of things, but I do enjoy using it for the books. Plus, you can track your reading. It keeps track of your streaks. Do you know what? If you want to see a video, or if you want to hear me talk about why you should join Fable or how good Fable is, let me know in the comments and I will try and plan a video so that I can recommend Fable to all of you guys, and let you know what it's about. But until then, I'm going to close this video out because it's been quite a long one, and I'm going to say have a great week. I will see you next time with a brand new video, which will probably be a writing update because things are happening. Things are happening at last, and I am beyond excited about it. So until then, I'm not going to say any more. So I'm going to love you and leave you. I will see you next week with a brand new video. Until then, have a great week. See ya. Bye.